Welcome to Pieces for My Puzzle. I'm your host, Nikki Ship, and I'm excited to be sharing with you my life with a son on the spectrum. This podcast is for anyone who is looking for quick tips and perspective, but most of all, for hope and inspiration. So sit back, relax, and let's put the pieces together. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Pieces for My Puzzle. I'm your host, Nikki Ship. Thank you so much for joining us today. Last week, we had the great pleasure of having Constance Lewis on the show. If you did not get a chance to check out that episode, please do. Her and her husband, Andre, are the authors of a book called Miles and the Colorful Capes of Feelings. Wonderful conversation. I enjoyed every moment of it. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for being on the show. It was amazing. This week, I am especially excited to have Miss MaLinda Perry on the show. MaLinda is a designer-turned-Gallup-certified strengths coach and founder of MaLinda Perry Consulting, also known as Happy Girls Don't Do That. She's in Gillette, Wyoming, and she has over 20 years of experience in the design world and a passion for strengths-based development. She's helped to equip creative professionals, teams, and families to unlock their natural talents using Clifton strengths. Whether guiding blended families, executives, or young people, MaLinda champions a clarity and confidence-first approach because when you aim your strengths, the outcome is profoundly different. Please welcome MaLinda to the show today.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So now you have such a wonderful background. So you were originally you've gone from design to coaching. Is that correct?
Yeah, I grew up in the industry, the design industry. My grandfathers were very prominent architects in Colorado for many years. And I grew up at their drafting tables. And I remember announcing my dream job when I grow up, I'm going to be a kitchen and bathroom designer. And I lived the dream, won an award, and hit a milestone in life where I was just stuck. I wasn't enjoying it anymore, and I needed something different. And so I went to a coach and who introduced me to Clifton Strengths.
Okay.
But couldn't really coach me once we got my results. And so I started digging in a little deeper to what it was. And my son was injured, and we pretty severely injured, and he became something we didn't recognize. And so I thought, well, this is a pretty positive thing. Maybe if we introduced him to strengths, he would grow a little bit with it. Right. And it helped quite a bit. Yeah. And then I got this call from Gallup that said, "You want to be a coach?" And I was like, yes, of course I want to be a coach. And so my whole goal was to take strengths to the design industry.
Right.
And as I've been moving in that direction, I decided somewhere in there that I needed to start a nonprofit. And so there goes Happy Girls. And so it's this crazy little roller coaster of, I don't know how to explain it. It's just been an amazing journey. Yeah.
Now, your son, was it a brain injury that he had suffered from, or what kind of injury was he challenged with?
He was in an exhibition. He played hockey his whole life, and he was in a college exhibition game. And he got hit illegally from behind, and it severed his femur.
Oh my God!
And the surgeon called me the morning he was going into surgery and said, "You need to get him into counseling immediately because he's going to become somebody you're not going to recognize."
Okay.
And I thought, how is that even possible? Like, he's this gregarious, fun, jokester, Gemini kind of kid. And he came out of that surgery, and she was right. I didn't
Yeah.
recognize him. He
Yeah.
was angry and explosive, and just hated the world and
Right.
for what had happened to him. And so we needed an outlet. I mean, he was the kid who went into the counseling office and cleared the guy's desk with his arm and said, "This
Gotcha.
isn't about my mom or my dad. This is about me."
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, I can't have him moving through life
Mm-hmm.
with this much anger.
Right.
So,
Right. Which
yeah,
is kind of developed into, so now Happy Girls Don't Do That is your nonprofit, correct?
yeah,
And so
it
this
is.
kind of, all of this kind of developed going through this with your son into, really utilizing Clifton's strengths and becoming a coach. And so it's kind of interesting. When we had our discovery call, it was the way you described it. It's funny how everything falls into place when it needs to, right? I always say that. But it
Right.
seems like all of this kind of happened and then you were able to open up, Happy Girls Don't Do That. So that's a bold brand name. That's a really bold name. So what's the story behind it and how does that reflect your mission?
So, it is a bold brand name,
Yeah.
and what I so as I was coaching,
Uh-huh.
and I would coach girls and women, it always seemed to a lot of the beliefs on themselves and where they were at stemmed from some sort of bullying of
Mm-hmm.
some kind.
Yeah.
And it's really sad to think that so many women worldwide, and at some point in our
Mm-hmm.
lives, each and every one of us will be bullied.
Mm-hmm.
Every
Yeah.
one of us.
Oh yeah.
And
I believe
so I
that.
would tell these girls, yeah, I would be working on their strengths. And I would tell them, it's not about you. You're strong, you're beautiful, you have these amazing strengths. You bring great talents to the table. It's not about you, it's about the other girl, because happy girls don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And they really don't. There's a
Right.
lot of things that happy girls don't do.
Mm-hmm.
And being mean to somebody else is top of the list. And
Right.
so I was joking with my brother one time, and we were on our little road trip, and he would say something. I'd go, "Jimmy, happy girls don't do that." And after about a whole day of hearing me say that, he said, "Lala, I don't know what you have to do, but you have to make this a thing. It
Yeah.
needs to be, the message needs to be out there."
Yeah.
And so we threw a party and launched a nonprofit. And it's he was
You're
like, "Who
like,
does
well,
that?"
go big or go home, I guess, right? Oh my goodness.
Exactly, exactly. So,
Well, and we've kind of talked about, within how you've also been able to translate this even with the special needs community and helping kids that are on the spectrum and other neurodivergent kids with their Clifton strengths as well, right? I mean, you've kind of developed into that as well because, I mean, I love Clifton strengths. I did it years ago, and I still go back to it. I love it. It's interesting to me though that also, I never thought of that being a place for the special needs community until you and I had that conversation.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes, 'cause, I think more people mm, I would love for more people to understand that.
Right.
So, having a child who's neurodivergent, you watch them go through the stages of development.
Yeah.
And you pick up their little idiosyncrasies as they're, and my example was this competitive little child but had these weird little idiosyncrasies. Like, I can't tell you how many times we watched 101 Dalmatians in a
Oh
3-year
yeah.
period. It
Yeah.
was like 8 times a day all day long, and I was like, I can't watch the puppies anymore, please don't make me watch the puppies anymore. And when he was diagnosed, by the time he was misdiagnosed the first time and then diagnosed correctly the second time, it was fifth grade. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I discovered and started learning about strengths, I realized that we start learning our strengths as young as 2 years old.
You're right.
By the time
Wow.
we're diagnosed with any kind of neurodivergence, I believe that we're already pretty much mastering what we do best in
Mm-hmm.
those top talents. And
Mm-hmm.
his top talents were a lot of head talents. He
Mm-hmm.
had some paradoxical pairs holding hands together, which are opposites attract.
Mm-hmm.
So, he has strengths of futuristic and context, which is about the past, holding hands every day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for someone who doesn't understand that, it's going to
Right.
be a little quirky.
Right.
There's going to be some, what are those? What are you doing? What does that actually look like?
Mm-hmm.
And I started looking at his neurodivergence as a gift. These
Mm-hmm.
are what you do best. What are the things that you do best? And then let's showcase that
Right.
and look at the neurodivergence part of that as just one of the challenges that make you great.
Right. Right.
And it's opposite. It's really truly opposite of what a lot of the education system wants you to believe,
Right.
because they don't fit into that norm,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't fit into that norm because they have these incredible talents and strengths that make them just a little bit better at certain things
Yeah.
than your normal
And I
person
would think
does.
for as a parent too, it gives a definition to that strength. Like that, I think that's why I like Clifton strengths so much too, is that you get those very precise definitions about those characteristics. And so I think I would imagine for you as a parent that that was really refreshing to kind of almost have like, oh, okay, this is a strength, and now I have a definition of how I can to understand it, so I can help him cultivate this strength.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And not only that in himself, but in myself as well.
Right.
And so where you go through that period as a parent where they're growing and testing the boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
neurodivergent or not. And
Right.
as a parent, you're like, just do as I said. Well, those arguments, when we became a strengths-based family, they were gone.
Yeah.
I started using phrases like, this is a conversation, not a competition. Can you
Okay.
please put your competition aside for a minute? Nobody's going to win here.
Right.
And then he would go, oh, okay, I can handle a 30-second conversation as
Yeah.
opposed to, arguing about what we're processing. And
Right.
it started really focusing on what was right, which is what
Mm-hmm.
strengths is all about. Let's focus on what's right with you instead of what's wrong with you.
Right.
And I think that holds hands with anybody in the neurodivergent community.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's focus on what you do really well
Right.
instead of all of the things that you don't. Yeah,
Right. Yeah. And again, I would think that would feel so empowering for you as a parent and for the child because, again, you're getting that definition. And it's interesting to me that you said as early as age 2. And I think that there's a lot of validity to that. So, Clifton Strengths it's funny because I went back after you and I had our discovery call. I pulled out my Clifton Strengths book. And I
uh-huh.
started looking things up and reading up the definitions. And I thought, well, Andresen's 13. And I'm like, I think I want to do this with him in high school so that we can kind of get this development going for him and understanding a little bit more about his characteristics. So I went back through mine. And I'm like, oh, yeah, they're still there. they're all there. Those are still there. But to reread those sections for me were really profound because, again, even for me personally, it gave me definition. Like I was like, oh, okay, this is where I can really powerhouse through some of these strengths for myself. But I think as a parent, that's
Absolutely.
really empowering when you kind of get that glimpse about your child in a way that, it's non-bias. It's not, you know what I mean? Like somebody else is giving you that report. You're not coming to that determination. They are, you know.
Right. And what's so great about the strengths process is the assessment that they give you. You can't lie, cheat, or steal your way to a result. So
No.
you can't say, "Oh, I want to be this really strategic person and take the assessment." You can't do that. And
Yeah.
people who take it more than once, which they don't recommend,
Yeah.
it's always your first assessment that's going to be your strongest. They may
Yeah.
shift a little, but your bottom strengths are never going to come to the top. And what I like with doing it with youth is all the strengths are aligned with careers.
Mm-hmm.
They have done enough research to tell you what type of teachers to look for, when you're going to excel at what type classes, which for Ashton was huge when he started embracing that and going to school, because this was the kid I was told, don't ever expect him to graduate high school. Don't ever expect him to go to
Yeah.
college. Don't ever expect him to be a productive
Yeah.
person in society. Well, he graduated early, high school early, went on to get a master's, and I'm like, how did you do that without, I always tease him, like, how did you do that without learner and achiever? Because those are his bottom two strengths. And he's like, Mom, I'm number two competition. I can do anything. And I, this is where power strengths come in. And it's so amazing to me. But I'm a firm believer in, when you know your strengths,
Mm-hmm.
call a spade a spade. And
Yeah.
so we hear our whole lives, and think about a neurodivergent kid especially. They start hearing no.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep working at it. You'll get better. Just keep
Yep.
practicing. No, don't do that. Don't do that. No, don't do that. And strengths, we start doing things and people will tell us they see the strength, but they don't see it as a strength. So
Right.
then it comes across as a backhanded compliment or a condescending remark, like, oh, you wear your heart on your sleeve, or oh, you're
Mm-hmm.
too nice to people all the time. I'm a firm believer they're seeing your strength. Call
Mm-hmm.
a spade and
Yeah.
say, thanks. That's my empathy. I love I want everybody to be, I feel everybody's pain, and
Yeah.
just call it as it is and recognize it. I'm told all the time I'm a bossy little munchkin. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I am. We're going to get a
Yeah.
lot done.
I've been told
So,
a lot, you're too nice to people. I've heard that from people. I've heard those types of things before. And I like how you give that approach of, well, take it as a compliment, because that's okay. Like that's a part of who you are. That's amazing. You know?
and and part of the happy girls twist on that is people like to feel important, right?
Yeah.
So then you can just say, thank you for recognizing my empathy.
Yeah.
I'm grateful. That's who I am. Thank you for recognizing that in me. And you're making them, giving them credit for actually seeing a quality in you that's amazing, and making them feel good about
That's
themselves.
such a
Thank you.
great suggestion. That's such a great suggestion. Now you've helped with blended families, right? You coach families and blended families and neurodivergent. And so what patterns do you most commonly, do you see that need the most help, I guess, is what I'm trying to ask, like within family units?
So I was third generation blended family, and so I've lived it, experienced it on all levels. And I think probably the biggest one is when you're in that separation and your families are being divided as adults, it tends to be all about us.
Mm-hmm.
We forget that the littles see everything. They see it and understand it way more than we give them credit for.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm a firm believer in, don't ever lie or sugarcoat it. Your littles are seeing it on a much broader spectrum than
Right.
you would like to admit, probably.
Right.
And I'm very much a believer and teach everybody that you want to keep the playing field as balanced as you
Yeah.
can, and embrace, you're not, what people don't understand, I think they don't understand is, sorry, my brain's thinking faster than my words are coming out,
No, you're
but
fine.
we tend to be very angry during that
Mm-hmm.
period,
Yeah, of
and
course.
we forget that our kids are seeing all of that from the outside. They're those, and
Mm-hmm.
I find it to be very important that we give their perspective credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
And for, like, when I was getting my divorce, my son was so angry with me
Mm-hmm.
for years, and it was kind of like, why are you so mad?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was because we broke up the family.
Mm-hmm.
Was he had brothers and sisters, like, we were this big happy family that just went south.
Mm-hmm.
And years later he said, I wasn't mad that you broke up the family. I was mad that you stayed too long at the party. And I was like, what? And he goes, you were trying to make this whole thing work and to be somebody that you weren't, and you were changing. And I was watching this from the outside, and who was I to say, knock it off? And it took
Wow.
him 4 years to come to terms with that. And before he finally just said, geez, mom, like, cut it
Right.
loose, rip the band-aid off, so they really truly see
Yeah.
way more than we give them credit for. And I think that's the hardest part for parents, is being able to not push or pull our kids through the
Mm-hmm.
finish line
Mm-hmm.
during that, but looking at them as maybe they're actually our guiding light
Yeah.
to give us the insight that we actually need,
And I'm sure when you heard that, it's like, well, when did you become so wise? you know,
Right?
yeah,
Exactly. And
yeah, like, oh, okay. Like, yeah. And I think that's when we kind of have a little bit of epiphany too. Like, I know when Drayson does stuff like that, I'm always like, oh, okay, I underestimated that he was observing that. Oh, okay. He's picking up on things for sure. Absolutely. But we
um,
just don't give them enough credit sometimes. Like, we just think that they're I just think, oh, Drayson's in his own little world, but no, he's picking up on everything.
yeah, they start as young as 3. Like we had
Oh, yeah.
mentioned that. It's like even when they're little. And one thing I wanted to mention with the Gallup Strengths, there's actually another assessment that Incredible Family has, and it's
Okay.
geared for the littles, the littles. So as parents, you can run that assessment as young as 3 years old, and you
That's
take it for
great.
them. And what it is, it's a combination of strengths. So there's only 12 strength lists,
Okay.
but they're combinations of the Gallup strengths. So there
Okay.
might be 3 strengths to 1. It's like
Okay.
a 3-to-1 ratio. And then there's a parent assessment you can take as well. And I think for the littles,
Mm-hmm.
before 3 to preschool or first grade, then you can take those to the teachers and say, we've done his strengths. Here's what, he's a
Oh,
thinker.
that's a great
We're not going
idea.
to get him to, raise his hand every time or be
Right.
active. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
He
I
might
wish I'd have
respond
had
differently.
that.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Especially when the kindergarten teacher said he can't count to his Cheerios to 100. And I had Ashton do it in front of her, and then I said, "Why didn't you do that for Mrs. Paul in class?" And he just looked at her and said, "I already did it once. How many times do you need to hear it?" And she's
Well,
like, "I don't
okay.
want you back." She said, "I don't want you back in my class. I'm moving you to first grade."
Oh, God. Oh my gosh. Well, and it seems when they explain it, it's so simple in their minds, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, well, I mean, it makes
Exactly.
sense. So, oh my gosh. So now you have helped a lot of clients set really attainable goals, and so how do you balance like big dreams with kind of like real, following through in the real world, because it's much different, right? Between the two. So how do you help to balance that for people in your coaching?
Oh, I love that question. So first, so people know I'm number one strategic, and
Okay.
I'm very high in positivity.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad calls it a Disney-esque attitude. And I also have this amazing strength called ideation.
Okay.
And those strengths combined give me the leverage to help my clients build
Mm-hmm.
a great strategy to move forward based on what they already are good at. And I'm not going to say that you can do everything. You can't. Sometimes we have to partner with people
Mm-hmm.
who have something that we're missing, but teamwork makes the dream work. And
Right.
it's when we can find those people and put them in our corner and help them realize what we're bringing to the table and understand what they bring to the table to make a powerful strategy. I think life gets so much easier.
Oh yeah.
It's so much more enjoyable when you can move through your goals and go, wow,
Yeah.
Life is easier. Same with parenting. When I coach parents, I'm like, it's a struggle right now, but I promise you, you're going to go through life with parenting going, it's so much easier now.
Yeah.
Life is easier. Parenting is fun. Let's,
Yeah.
and that's how I want you to reach your goals. I want you to have fun achieving them.
Yeah.
It's why not? Life's too short not to have fun and
Right.
be
Yeah.
happy.
Right. And to be able to grow and learn from it in a positive way is
Yeah.
really what it's about. I mean, I always say that all the time. If we're not learning, we're not growing. But I always want it to be. It's also in a positive way. I mean, even if there's things that are stressful and have a negative connotation, there's still a positive outcome, in my opinion. There's always something to learn from. There's always a takeaway. And so, I love that you bring that to light in what you do with the coaching. So I love your congrats mantra. That was something that I had to bring up. So I've been saying it around the house. I just want you to know this. As soon as I read about it, I was like, this is amazing. So, so your mantra is, the congrats mantra is to do epic shit, right?
Mhm.
So can you unpack
Yeah.
what that means and why it sticks for people?
I think so when you start to understand your strengths and you look at what you do amazingly well,
Mm-hmm.
and you start to embrace that, call a spade,
Yeah.
then it's so much. Once you learn that, you
Mm-hmm.
can really go forward and conquer your goals and your dreams. And plus, I'm a really big firm believer in no fear-based decisions.
Yeah.
And when you do epic shit, you can't go forward with a fear-based decision.
Yeah.
Fear-based decisions will hold us back.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe that we were meant to be put on this earth to be mediocre.
Right.
So if you're embracing who you are and you understand what you bring to the table, there is no reason why you can't do epic shit.
I
Like
love it.
just go make it happen.
I know. I read it and
And
I
I'll
was like,
be
I
there
want
to
that on
help
a
you.
shirt. I was like, put that on a t-shirt. That's amazing. You know,
It
I,
is
I, it's just
it's
so
fun.
it's fun and it grabs your attention and it's like, oh, okay. Like so I my husband and I have been talking about this and I said jokingly, I'm like, I do epic shit. I did some epic shit today. And he's like, so did I. Like, it's like, I mean, just at the end of the day, even to categorize all just even basic stuff, it's like, for me, it's a win. And so it's funny because when I read that, I was like, that is such a great short mantra. So at the end of the day, I'm congratulating myself because hey, I did some epic shit today, It's great.
And so often I think we don't celebrate our wins.
Yeah.
Like it's even hard for me to sometimes go through a day and I have to go back and look at the wins. And that ties into gratitude and
Mm-hmm.
positivity. And, what did you do today that
What'd you
was
do?
epic?
Yeah.
Yeah. And for your wins might scare the heck out of somebody else.
Right.
And you being able to recognize that might give your neighbor a little push to, oh, I can do that too. If you can
Yeah.
do it, I can do it.
Yeah. The
Yeah, and I don't
inspiration
have any
push. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's like competitions, like everybody has 34 strengths, and my competition is number 33. And I
Okay.
raised a kid whose competition is number 2. So our strengths aren't genetic, so
Right.
we're not born with it. So when I look at that, and I'm number 3 achiever, and he has learned his achiever's number 33. So
Wow. So
I
complete
couldn't tell
opposites.
him,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And that's where our parenting struggles, I think, come from a lot of
Yeah.
times is we're just raising
Absolutely.
our opposites. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
true.
So
So now before we close the show today, if you could help parents today or our listeners today with one practical tip to leverage their strengths immediately, what would that be?
I would say it goes back to being authentically you.
Mm-hmm.
We are told so often to be something we're not.
Right.
And when we live authentically and we say, Like I can say, yeah, I'm a bossy little munchkin and I'm okay with that,
Yeah.
and have fun with it, then yeah, I think be true to who you are.
Yeah.
Live that, embrace it, smile about it, laugh about it, have fun with it. Because when you can do that, everybody else around you will embrace it as well.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's such a great tip. I really appreciate your
Thanks.
time and energy on the show today, MaLinda. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. For those of you listening today, if you're interested in reaching out to MaLinda, please do. I will post all of her information in the show notes so that you can reach out to her. Tell her that I sent you over that direction. And I really do appreciate, like I said, MaLinda, your time and your energy today. I've just enjoyed so many, even, prior conversations that we've had. And I really admire your expertise and what you're doing, even for the neurodivergent
Oh,
community. So thank you so much.
oh, thank you. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful. This has been I love it. It's fun. It's just fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Well, this concludes our episode for today. If you have questions, comments, or even a show topic that you would like to hear about, please feel free to send me an email at info@piecesformypuzzle.com. I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram if you haven't done so already, or feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you like what you're hearing, please spread the word so that we can continue to empower autism families. And feel free to give us a good rating on your preferred podcast platform of choice. Thanks again for tuning in. And until next time, keep working on your puzzle. And remember, you don't have to have it all solved in a day. Take care.